Indeed. For me, it was definitely a pleasure. Thanks to the people at Sunrise High School that brought me out that time. Big up Teddy T, because he did get me out there for that. Identity is the biggest thing because it's the first thing that people think of or see when they see you. So immediately when you go somewhere and people is looking for you or looking at you, they always are gonna try to size up who or where you come from. Like, it's just natural like that. Like if you're walking down the street and you see a dog, your mind equates that as a dog immediately. However, then the waking mind begins to clarify what type of dog that is. You dig what I'm saying? So it's an instantaneous thing. When you see the Rottweiler, you see the dog as a rock. You don't see the dog as a Rottweiler. You see the Rottweiler as the dog. You see what I'm saying? Because you automatically associate that this four-legged quadruped, right, is a form of mammal. But as soon as you understand it, you know that's what it is. However, what if you come from a place where you see that Rottweiler, right, but don't know that that's the name of the Rottweiler? You still know it's a dog. You see what I'm saying? So you can still identify it, even though you may not know its direct name. You know what species that this thing belongs to. You know what I'm saying? Sorry. So it's the same thing when it comes to nationality or name. There's an element of direction that comes from knowing what path a person has come from and what family that person belongs to. So identity helps us define that. If identity wasn't important, then nobody would have a name. You know what I'm saying? Nothing would have a name. But to show you how important identity is, anything without a name doesn't exist. You see what I'm saying? So you can have a name. No, you can have a understanding of oneself, and you could know, okay, this is, like I said, a dog. But unless you know the name or the specific identity or family thing of the dog, you don't know anything outside of that. So imagine if today, I said this before, but it's a good example. Imagine if I took away all knowledge of who you were prior to this conversation. Okay, so you live your whole life the way that you lived it up until now, and up until now in this conversation, this is the first time you've woken up to being you. So now everything that you used to be is still there, but you have no on-site memory to recall that. So in the essence of a place or circumstance like that, you know what happens? Now you have to rely on the kindness of strangers to kind of tell you who and what you are, and that's not always a good thing, because people don't always have other people's best interests in mind, especially when they've come and taken over, you know, continents and stuff like that with false information and basic brainwashing and mind control. So because most people identify with what a colonizer calls them, they are then products or property of that colonization. But that colonization only existed from the time that they accepted that designation and the time that they didn't. You understand what I'm saying? So you can have a nationality, you know what I mean, and still be conflicted with what your identity is. That's why you would see certain people who are like like in the Moorish community, the ultimate Moors, you know what I'm saying? These Moors is like ultimate, you know what I mean? And they're infallible. They're like super Moors, you know what I'm saying? But then like BLM come out, and then like now they wearing BLM hats and shit like that. You see what I'm saying? So it's like being jack of all trades, master of none. doesn't help anything get done. You know what I'm saying? It just means that you know a lot of shit. So that's what happens with the identity in my understanding, is that it's more than just being able to say I'm this. It's also creating a boundary line and a delineation to say what I also am not. See what I'm saying? So if I'm Prince Charles, then I can't be Robert Smith. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because Robert Smith is Robert Smith and Prince Charles L is Prince Charles L. You know what I mean? Right. But because Robert Smith is somewhat non-descendable, he doesn't have a nationality the way that Prince Charles L does. See what I'm saying? Because if I say Robert Smith or Robert Poole or Albert Blake, that's different than saying Albert Rodriguez, Albert Warfenstein, or Albert L. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The last ones all denote a person's identity and nationality.